The Buddha and the Beggar. There is a really famous story that I've been hearing in Thailand, and I wanna share it with the world if I could. This is the story about the Buddha and homeless man. One day there was a homeless man and he is been trying to get food. As he keeps not stitching, every day his food disappears. One day he caught the mouse that kept stealing his food, and he asked the mouse, "Why are you stealing from me? I am homeless man. You can steal from richer people than me, and it won't have any effect on them." The mouse then told the homeless man, "It is in your destiny that you can only take items in your possession. No matter how much you beg, no matter how much you gather, this is all you will be able to have." The homeless man was shocked and said, "Why is that my destiny?" And the mouse said, "I don't know. You choose try and ask the Buddha." So the homeless man goes on the So the homeless man goes on his journey to go find the Buddha, and as he is going it gets late. So he ends up at a wealthy family house, and he asks if he could stay the night. They let him in and they ask him, "Young man, why are you traveling so late?" And he answered, "I have a question for the Buddha, and tomorrow I will be on my way." The family then says, "Can we give you a question to ask the Buddha? We have a 16-year-old daughter who can speak. We just want to ask, what do we have to do to make her speak?" So the homeless man thanks them for shelter and tells them, "Of course I will ask your question for you." So the next morning he goes and continues his journey and sees a sea of mountains that he had to cross. He climbs up one mountain, and he meets a wizard, and the wizard decides to use his staff to take the young man and himself, fly them across the sea of mountains. And the wizard asks the young man, "Where are you going? Why are you deciding to cross this mountain?" The young man says, "I am going to ask the Buddha a question about my destiny." The wizard then says, "Can I please give you a question to ask the Buddha? I've been trying to go to heaven for 1,000 years. According to my teachings, I should be able to go to heaven now. Can you please ask the Buddha, what do I have to do to get to heaven? Of course I will ask you a question for you." And as he continues on his journey, he runs into his last obstacle, which is a river that he cannot cross. Luckily, he meets again Turtle, who decides to take him across the river. As they are crossing the river, the turtle asks, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to see the Buddha. I'm going to ask him a question about my destiny." The turtle then says, "Can you please ask a question for me too? I've been trying to become a dragon for 500 years. According to my teaching, I should have become a dragon by now. Can you please ask the Buddha, what do I have to do to become a dragon?" The young man thanks the turtle for talking him across and says, Of course, I will ask you a question for you. The homeless man finally meets the Buddha, and the Buddha tells everybody, I will answer 3 questions for everybody here, but only 3 questions, and the young man is shocked. He has 4 questions to ask, so he thinks carefully. He thinks about the turtle living for 500 years, trying to become a dragon. The wizard has been living for 1,000 years, trying to get to heaven. The girl has to live her whole life unable to speak. And then he looks at himself, and he says, I am just a homeless beggar. I can just go back home and continue begging. So as he looks at everybody else's problems, his problem suddenly seems so small. He feels sorry for the turtle, the wizard, and the girl. And this is to ask all of their questions. So he asked the Buddha, and Buddha answered, the turtle is unwilling to leave his shell. As long as he is unwilling to leave the comfort of his shell, he will never become a dragon. The wizard always carries his staff and never put it down. It acts as an anchor, keeping him from heaven. And as for the girl, she will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. So the homeless man bowed the Buddha and went on his journey back home. He reunited with the turtle, and he tells the turtle, hey, you just have to take off your shell, and you become a dragon. The turtle then takes off his shell, and inside his shell were peaceless pears found in the deepest parts of the ocean. And he gives it to the homeless man and tells him, thank you, I no longer need this because I am now a dragon, and fades away. The homeless man leaned with the wizard and says, hey, you just have to put down your staff, and you will be able to go to heaven. The wizard let go of his staff. By giving it to the young man, he says, thank you, and ascend to heaven. The young man now has wealth from the turtle and power from the wizard. He goes back to the family that helped him shelter, and he tells them that the Buddha says your daughter will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate, and at that moment, the doctor comes downstairs and says, hey, is that the man that was here last week? The young girl and the once homeless man have found their soulmate. This story tells you so many things, so many lessons. For me, I think that sometimes we have to give things in order to get something. Sometimes if we want to become a dragon, we want to become a lion, we have to be willing to leave behind what makes you most comfortable, what makes you feel most safe. We have to leave our comfort zone just like the turtle did, and in order to invite to love. We must become somebody who is willing to put others before ourselves. When you are alone and when you are lost in your talk, sometimes your problem seems so big, and it may seem like it is the end of the world. But if we look at other people's life, other people who don't have as much opportunity as you, who have it worse than you, sometimes it makes our problems seem so much smaller, and if we are willing to lend a hand to those who are struggling more than you and are willing to help them, it may change the course of your life, your destiny, and the universe may repay you in such a way that you never would have imagined. It will come back to you. All the good that you do in the world will come back to you. So if you are going through hard time right now, I hope this story helps. My name is Sarawut, and I hope you have a wonderful life.